Hey, we're here. Ron is doing his drum solo. How he still has energy, I have no idea. None. No idea how you are still going right now. Because I am done. D-U-N, done. I am so tired tonight. I got home around noon. And after the drive last night and then the drive this morning and returning the rental car and the flight, the ride home, getting the dogs taken care of, picking up tea, doing the paper route, I just barely got settled into getting DJ stuff ready and doing a couple other things. But as we had talked about, wanted to kind of touch base real quick with you guys and let you know we're going to have a show coming up to discuss Universal Studios, their holiday extravaganza, if you want to call it that, reviews on what we thought after spending a weekend at Universal. We had a wonderful time. It was nice to have up there in park and enjoy some stuff. You finally got to try the Velocicoaster.
I did more than once.
And what is your takeaway?
We don't have enough time tonight. I will just say it is a game changer in the world of roller coasters and high-speed thrill action rides.
It is most definitely a wonderful thing. The other thing we got to do is jump over, and we took the family and went to lunch, and we had a wonderful lunch at Beaches and Cream. And over in Beaches and Cream, they have the decorations this year, including this wonderful gingerbread carousel, which I was super impressed with. I think they do a lot of stuff, and I'm looking forward to the next show. What I wanted to touch base on, and you and I had discussed, I am actually unavailable to do the show tomorrow night because since I went on vacation,
drum roll.
Yeah, the club I work at has become incredibly short-staffed for the week, and I am going to be covering. I'm going to be covering club duties pretty much every night this week. So in addition to trying to recover from an amazing vacation of which I'm barely awake from, now I am going to be working tomorrow during the day. I'm at the kennel, and then, the doggy daycare facility. And then tomorrow night I'll be at the club. Wednesday, I'll be at the club. Thursday, I've got trivia. Friday at the club. Saturday at the club. And Sunday at the club. So I will be very busy this week. Therefore, we are not going to be going live tomorrow night at 9. We will have a new show ready for next week. And we will be jumping on. And I may even try, since I'm going to have a little time at the clubs this week, to set up some of the segmenting, and we may give you a little preview of the segments we would like to try to do after the new year, coming into the new show format. So we may try a couple of the little segment concepts and see if we can kind of get into the gist of that beforehand. But we did just want to jump on and say, man, are we going to have some stuff to talk about for sure?
Yeah.
You know, definitely got to enjoy the festivities of the holidays. I would say that. Um,
Yeah, Universal has really done an outstanding job. There's so much going on in both parks, and yeah, we're gonna talk in great detail about it.
yeah, I think I was most impressed with the fact that not only do they have stuff going on for the holidays, you know, in one park or with one format, but they literally kind of touch on it everywhere. And you and I discussed it um, between the tribute store, the
Hmm.
amazing decoration, the phenomenal parade, the shows going on, the incorporation of the parade actors and characters being out throughout the day in park,
Yep.
not just for the parade, the interaction, and also the Easter eggs at Christmas.
Yeah.
But you know, the Christmas decorations themselves are filled with Easter eggs, and I was shocked to learn that because I did not see that coming. But one of the great members, Mr. Jimmy Mack, who was hanging out with Marilyn Monroe, gave me a little education as to some of the things that Universal does to pay tribute, even in decoration, which was impressive. I also want to touch on a knock that Universal has had this year, and that is the pass holder pins and magnets, which seem to run out faster than they can get them. And December's magnet is already gone. It was gone as of Saturday. So that was December 11th. That was 11 days into the month, and the annual pass magnet was already gone. So either their annual pass number has jumped up so significantly, which I would not be shocked at. But either it's jumped up so significantly that they're running out of what they usually could make last a month, or they're just not getting enough. And the other side is,
I think
do they care enough to get
I
more?
think that's I think that's the case. When October 1st came around, Disney just couldn't keep 50th anniversary merchandise stocked. People were fighting over the few dozen items that might be out on displays. So I feel
But I
like
think what's
everybody's feeling
weird,
that.
but so here's what's weird to me. You can look at a system and know how many pass holders you have, and you know they're not all going to come in the month. You obviously know that.
Right.
But you also know the percentages on average of what comes into the park over the course. So sorry, over the course of a month. And I think you could be a little more adept at making sure that you have enough to go around. I do think it's disappointing. I mean, we've made the trip down a couple of times now to try to schedule early in the month visits so we could make sure we got our magnets and pins. We've never been able to get magnets. They've been gone within the first couple days. And the pins, we missed out on the Halloween pin, and we were there the 8th. So pins are going quick. You know,
Yeah,
it
I think
I just like
I think it's a supply chain thing, the same as Disney's experiencing.
could
I don't
be,
honestly think
could
it's
be, but honestly,
Universal missed the
if
bus.
it's a supply chain thing though, Ron, wouldn't they not be getting any of the pins? Like at
No,
that
if they're
point, it's a
getting
quantity.
well, here's what's happening a lot of the times when people are placing orders, our orders are only getting partially filled. And I think, the
If
problem
that's the
for
case, that's
this
an
is a
excuse.
conversation that could take, well, this is a conversation that could go on for hours, but the reality is you've got vendors and manufacturers that are producing X number, and then you've got whoever the distributors are deciding, well, this park wants this number, this park wants this number, this park wants this number. And instead of actually fulfilling and making whole one particular park, maybe they decide, well, we're just going to just split this up and divide it and give 20% to all the recipients. And I kind of feel like maybe that's what's happening because, I
Could
mean, let's
be,
be honest,
and definitely, in all
Disney's
fairness,
50th,
that could totally be the case.
Disney's
Ooh,
50th is
you
only
light up
happening at
my
one
life.
time, right? Right?
Yeah,
And when I learned about that, that was very shocking to me.
yeah, and I understand that. I just think that's my only knock from this weekend is there. I saw a lot of pass holders disappointed that had made trips to try to get their pin, and it's a cute little Christmas pin, and they're collectible, and I get it, and everybody wants to have their little perks. Disney like their pass holder
Well,
magnets.
we got our pin.
We did,
We
but
got our pin when we were there.
yeah. And then by Saturday afternoon at noon, no more.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah. Because I went in with a group of other people looking to get their pins and they were out. And they were out in both parks. So and the
Wow.
magnets were gone in the first couple of days. So I just think if there was a knock, like you should be at least lasting until the third week of the month, you would think, where then, okay, maybe you're
Right.
running out. If you're running out in the first week, that seems like a little bit of, piss poor prior planning. The
Well,
peas.
then they could do away with it altogether, and that would, of course, cause a
No,
terrible uproar.
Ron,
But
Ron, that no, because then you'd have to lower pass holder cost. Because if I'm not getting a pin,
no,
I'm
you,
not paying $800 a year. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But so in all seriousness though, we will review Cabana Bay where we stayed.
yep,
We will discuss their incredibly inept cafeteria concept on Saturday night that I got to deal with firsthand. However, the earlier in the week when we dealt with the cafeteria, they were actually phenomenal. So, weekend, I think they were a little short staffed and had some very untrained people working, at least in the pizza station. Because when
you
I got
know,
in line,
um, no, you're right. Everything seemed to be a confusing mess. I feel like they pulled people behind the counter who had never worked there before.
yeah, there was about 25 people in line when I got in line on Saturday, and there was one cheese pizza on the counter when they started. And my take was if you see 25 people in line, at least five of them are getting each kind of pizza. So throw 10 pizzas in the oven and get five pepperonis and five cheese up there. And they were literally cooking them to order once you waited in line. Then you got all the way to the front. It took 10 more minutes to get your pizza, which just made no sense to me. And it
But
took me
to be fair,
35 minutes
that may
to
have
get up.
not been that may not be the fault of the hourlies. That may have been directed by salary. There may have been a manager somewhere saying cook to order to keep costs down.
Well, if a manager's telling someone to do that in a cafeteria style restaurant with a line of 25 people, I'm going to tell you right now that manager has zero restaurant experience because I've never worked in pizza and I could tell you what your pars would be for getting pizza and having the Italian food ready to go on what you're going to potentially serve statistically
Right.
when you put 25
Right.
people in line. Because there were, I'll be honest, the other stations, the lines were just as long, but they were gone by the time we were in the same place. It was nuts. I'd never seen
So
a
not
cafeteria style just that disorganized on a weekend.
just so for anyone who's catching this short blast, not everything was terrible. I think one of the things, hand down, that
Oh, not at
Universal
all.
had trumped, one of the things hands down Universal trumped Disney on, was the number of live actors and performers out on the streets, like the elves
Oh,
that we saw at the
everywhere.
beginning of the day and the end of the day. I mean, probably,
Yep. Greeting you at the
gosh,
park,
I the
saying
percent
goodbye.
dramatic difference.
Yeah, and they're listen. That was just a couple of the knocks that we'll discuss further.
Oh yeah.
That there were plenty of great things, and I mean, where else on earth can you get bars of zest right now?
Or VO5,
We love the VO5.
or really pretty pastel pens.
That is true. That is true. I have about 5 minutes to go get my daughter, but I did just want to
Go.
jump on with Ron, and we wanted to say we will not be here tomorrow. Look forward to us next week. We will have a little more time to get some stuff together, and we will go through and review that Christmas parade, the holiday parade. We will review the rides we had the opportunity to finally go on, and your reactions to. Now, had
Yep.
you had done Gringotts, but you had not
Oh
done
yeah.
Hagrid's or Velocicoaster.
No. Correct.
So you got first time experiences on Hagrid's and Velocicoaster, and that was your first
Yep.
time staying at Cabana Bay too, correct?
It was. Yep. Yep. So we have a lot to talk about. Plus we're going to talk more in depth about how Brian survived the week in, if it were a reality game show, last COVID-free DJ standing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Um. So anyway, the other thing we will be discussing is I do want to talk about the Informer meetup, because even though I didn't partake in the meetup, I was there after the time in which the Informer folks were allowed in, and it drastically affected the crowds on Saturday night, because that was the most
Yes,
crowded
it
I had seen
did.
in the park for the parade and for Mannheim. You
It
could
felt
tell,
it felt like a peak period,
yes,
and it
without a
shouldn't have
doubt.
been.
Yep. And then, but for the most part, we were still able to knock out a ton of stuff. We got a lot
Yep.
done. Um, Communication, transportation between the parks was pretty good. Times between the parks. I utilized a lot of mobile food ordering this weekend, which was phenomenal. Worked really
Yep.
well, especially with Today Cafe. Um, and then the parking. I've got tips on how to get out of the parking at the hotel, get out of the parking lot. If you get pinned behind the gate, what you need to say when you press that button. I've got tips on.
let me I'll share a hint. It rhymes with
So, and it worked flawlessly. That's the best part. So I'm going to go get my daughter. And Ron and I, on behalf of both of us, once again, thank you guys for paying attention and joining us. And we will see you not tomorrow, but next Tuesday
That's right.
um,
That's
with
right.
a new show. So we have
Yep.
some time to get it ready. In the meantime, good night. Enjoy your evening, and may Santa find your address. All right, guys.
Thanks,
take care.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in and checking us out.
We'll talk to you soon.